Hi, in this session we'll discuss about how do we deploy a custom OAF page, and also we'll discuss about how do we redeploy a custom OAF page after a modification. So first of all, we have to understand the deployment architecture of an OAF page. I mean to say, as a developer, when we design an OAF page, what are the components comes into picture, in which layer we have to deploy. So first of all, let us understand here. So now let me show an existing OAF page where I have designed a page which is having a data, like this is one which shows an item inventory data. Now in this particular OAF page here, let me show you my GeoDeveloper here. So now here, if you observe, so my page name is inventory item details pg.xml, and this page is having a controller, and this page is having an AM and as well as a Vivo. So now let us say if you get a requirement that you have designed a page and you want to deploy this particular page. So what are the steps involved? Which component moves to which layer? So now, so let's concentrate on the basic backbone of OAF, the MVC one. So in the MVC, if you consider, we have three layers: model, view, and controller. So in the model layer, as per the guideline, what all we do is, so in the model layer, we'll be designing AM as well as Vivo. And coming to the view layer, we'll be designing our pg.xml. And coming to the CO, this is our controller, and here we'll be designing our co.java file. Now, as per our sample, which we are discussing now, so I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically, I have 4 components, but the number of files can be more. So now let us concentrate on the model layer first. So in the model layer, what all we have? We have Vivo as well as we have AM. So now these are the model layer components, nothing but application module and Vivo. These are also called as BC4J components. These model layer components are also called as BC4J components, nothing but business components for Java. So any model layer component generally will have, if you consider AM, it will have AM impl.java and AM impl.xml. Sorry, am.xml. If you see here, it is am.xml. Okay, it will have am.xml. And the same way for the Vivo also, it will have Vivo impl.java and vivo.xml. So we can also observe that. So item details vivo.xml and item details vivo impl.java. So this same thing follows in any of the Vivo whenever you design here, whether it's a normal Vivo, I mean to say it's a read-only Vivo or entity-based Vivo or a programmatical Vivo, it will always have XML file as well as impl.java file. So now these are the components of a model layer. And coming to the view layer, so we just generally always have a single file, nothing but when you design a page, it will just have a pg.xml. If you're using a shared region, that is a different concept. So, but in our scenario, as of now, I just have a pg.xml file. And coming to Java, coming to controller, we have one Java file. So now deployment strategy, I mean to say which layer, I mean to say here, these all files, now I have, for AM, I have 2 files, for Vivo, I have 2 files, and view layer 1 file, and CO 1 more file. So total I have 6 files. Total I have 6 files here. Now out of these 6 files, what all, where I have to move? So first basic thing is, so we have something called, if you consider the three, the Oracle ERP technical architecture, I mean to say the network layers kind of thing. If you consider the technical layers here, we have UI layer, right, and middle layer, and then DB layer. Okay, so it's called middle tier or application server, whatever you call it as. So UI layer is nothing but the front end. So we have forms or OAF page here, and the middle tier. So here where you will have your report server, DB server, and Apache server. All middle tier servers will be there in the middle layer. Now this is a database layer where our transactional data of a database will get stored. Okay, transactional data. Okay, now out of these 6 files, so what are the files which you have in the model layer, and what are the files which you have in the CO layer? These has to be moved to Java top. These has to be moved to Java top. So what is Java top? So Java top is a location in your Oracle. It is one of the location in your file system of your Oracle ERP installation where you have to move the files. So why we have to move to Java top? Because this application server, nothing but the Apache server, which is responsible for executing your OAF pages at runtime, will read the data from Java top only. That's a predefined configuration. Okay, so Apache server, Apache is a middle server, like a middle tier server, application server. which reads the data, which reads the files, which reads the files from the Java top, and then it will execute the binary files, the class files, and it will show the result in the front end. So whatever the files which you have at the model layer and CO layer should be moved to Java top. And what are the remaining files? We have the file at view layer. This has to be moved to MDS. So it's nothing but database layer. So it's quite different here, the concept. So it's like MDS nothing but metadata service. Okay. So now let us try to do these two steps. So the first thing is all the files which are there in the model layer plus CO layer should be moved to Java top, and the file which is at the view layer should be moved to MDS, nothing but database. So this one, the line number 20 refers to Java top, and line number 22 refers to DB layer. So to move the file to the Apache or middle tier server, we require access to our WinSCP. So we require the access to server. So we use a tool called WinSCP for moving the files. And one more thing, we always move the compiled code to the server. Okay, moving a source code is not enough. We have to move the compiled code. Okay, so now what I will do is, so here I'll go to the location where I have my class file, jdev home, jdev, there my classes, and yes, this is our location. XXRAM is our location. So I'll go here, and the right side I have to open the Java top location. So if you're not aware of the Java top location of your server, so you can just try to find out that location. Okay, so let me increase the font here. Okay, now here I'll just say echo fnd, sorry, java underscore top. So generally your DB has to provide what is the location of your Java top, but if you have the access to server and you have the env execution permission, you can try to find out like this. Now this is my Java top, and now left side I have my folder. XXRM is my folder. So now the basic thing, one more thing is, when you are moving a file from your local machine to server, always we have to maintain the package structure. So when I say just a file, 6 files I have, why can't I just move my files to server? No, it will not work. The way you have to move is make sure that the package structure is maintained. Let us say in your project, if you are the only one who is designing this particular page and you're the package structure XXRAM, if it belongs to you, then you can directly move your total folder from your local machine to server. But let us say if you're not sure, if some other developers are also doing the same thing, and you don't want to replace their code, then what you do is find out the exact package structure, make sure that you don't replace their files, and don't let us say if you're using the shared AM between both of you, then you have to consider, make sure that latest code will be moved to server. As of now, so here if you see in this one XXRAM, I have Oracle Apps FND. I have two folders, server and web UI. So in the web UI, I have CO file as well as PG file, and in the server, I have my AM files as well as Vivo files. But timing, what we do is, so there is no harm, just simply move XXRAM folder from your local machine to server folder. But as of now, just now I said that only the files which are at the model layer and CO layer should be moved to Java top. So the view layer file should be moved to DB layer. Now here if you observe, let us open this XXRAM, Oracle Apps FND. So in the server, I have my AM files as well as VO files. This is perfect. Now coming to web UI, I have my CO file as well as PG file. So but as per my recommendation, this view file has to move to DB layer. Even if the file is, even this pg.xml file is available here, there is no harm. Server will not read this file at runtime. It will not even consider this for execution at all. So even if you can delete it or let it be also fine. So I'll just delete here. It's not required in our case. Okay. Now what is the next step? We have to deploy the page, the pg.xml file into the MDS layer, nothing but database. Okay. So let's go to our database once here. Now, what's the page name? So in our case, so for the MDS layer, so from the OAF perspective, MDS layer, we have 3 tables, more than 3, but primary tables are 3. So they are JDR paths, other one is JDR components, other one is JDR attributes. So these are 3 tables where our page definition will get stored. Now in our case, what is our page name? So my page name is, so you can find out from here. Yeah, this is my page name, item inventory item details page. Okay. So this is my page name. So copy the page name here as of now. So try to check it from the table where path underscore name is equal to the page name. So if you have a record, it means that your page is already available on the server. If you don't have a record, it means that the page is not available. But having a record doesn't mean that that belongs to you. So you also need to find out the package structure of a page. So we'll see that once we deploy the page. So now what we do is the next step involved in our case now is deploying the OAF page to the MDS layer. So to deploy that OAF page, this view layer component to the MDS, we require a command called import command. Okay. So now this import command will be available in the location OA-ext bin folder in the JDeveloper installation directory. In this folder, you will find the import command. So now I'll just copy the command. I'm in location. I'm as of now at that location itself. And then how do we execute? So the command name is import. We does not need to remember anything. You just need to remember import command at least. Okay, just execute it once. It will automatically give you the sample example in which you have to execute this command. So I'll just copy this one. Okay, copy this one and here. So I'll just change it according to our requirement. Now we just need to know the location of our OAF page. So where is our OAF page? So either you can mention the my classes path or my projects path, but better I prefer to mention the my projects path. My projects, XXRAM, Oracle Apps, Web UI. So this is my path of my OAF page. So here I'll just mention the path of my OAF page, pg.xml. Okay. Now what is the next step? So we have to mention the root directory. Root directory is nothing but the location of my projects folder. So till this path. So simply replace that. And user ID, it is not required. And root package, it's not required. So we can just ignore them, nothing but delete them. And username is apps, nothing but our app schema. And password for app schema, mention that accordingly. In my case, it is apps. And then the server, so mention that. GLO, in my case, it is glo.dev.com. And connection, it is VIS. And make sure that this total command is in single line. So now make sure that, yeah. So try to use a proper editor so that you can easily find out whether your command is totally in a single file or not. Okay, if you use Notepad, you're gone. So prefer to use other kind of editors like Notepad++, where it will clearly show you your command is in single line or multiple line. Okay, copy this command now and execute from here. Paste. So we got some issue here. Let's see. What is that? Okay. So as of now, it is in a single line. Maybe I have not copied properly. Let me try again. Okay, let me try again. So the mistake was at this here, here I have not mentioned the space. So I just mentioned the space now. Copy the command again properly and re-execute now. Okay, so now see the result here. It clearly mentioning that import completed and other information is importing file. The file is our location as this location the server. So make a note of this information. So make a note. So this is my information. So in the server, our file is available at this location. But where is this location? This is not the location which is referring to JavaTop. If you refresh, you will not find the file here because I already deleted it. But where is the file? So copy the file name, just the file name, the pg.xml file without file extension. And now try to re-execute the same sync query. Now we have a record. But how can you say this file belongs to me? I mean, nothing but our path. What you can do is, so see here, path underscore name, JDR, we have one more package called JDR MDS internal, get document name, because there is a chance that the same file name may exist in the server, but the package structure could be different, right? So now just pass the document ID. Now it will clearly tell you what is a path. So this is one of our path which we deployed our page. Okay, so by this we can say that this particular page belongs to us. And now if you want to find out, one more thing is like the XML file is not stored as LOB. It is not stored as LOB. It will be stored in multiple tables of database, and they are stored in a component and attribute kind of fashion. Nothing but for our OF page. So if you observe whatever the components we had a page layout region, we have a header region, we have a table region, and we have the message text input components. Now just make a note of this document ID and try to see in the JDR paths table, JDR components table, comp underscore doc ID, nothing but our path underscore doc ID, which is the primary key. Now here if you see the page layout component, right? So page layout component, what is the component ID? I mentioned it as main region. Let us say if you want to find out what is your AM name for your page or what is the CO name for your page, what you can do is that particular information will be available in the properties table. So the basic thing is this particular pg.xml file will be available in the information is available, the page name as well as the path of your page name is available in the JDR paths table, and all the component information whatever you have which is getting shown in the structure, for each component you will have a record in the JDR components table, and for each component you'll have the properties, right? Now in this case ID, the region style, the text, these all information will be available in the JDR attributes table. Now nothing but on the main region I have set the ID and I have a region style, aim definition, controller class, window title and page title. So nearly around 6 parameters I have set on this main region. So these 6 parameters, nothing but 6 attributes should be available in the database. So let's see that. So what is a page layout ID? The component sequence, this is one, right? So here what we do is where attribute underscore comp underscore doc ID 95855. Now here what is the component sequence? It is one. So just search with that and attribute comp underscore sequence 1. Now we have to find out, we have to get that particular 4 I mean I said 6 but we have just 4 properties, right? Controller, because the other properties, the ID is getting stored in the component level itself, and there are some predefined properties, nothing but if you see the component ID and component type are getting stored at the component level itself. So this is the one, right? So component ID and component element, these two things are getting stored at component level, and the attributes, the other properties are getting stored at the attributes level. Okay. Now I can get my window title, page title, control class, and aim definition. So far registration of a custom OF page is done, but how do you run this particular page from server? That is the next step. Okay, so for that what we have to do, so we have to create an AOL function. So let me open my server now. Application developer. Yeah. Okay. Application function. So now what we have to do is for the OF page should be registered as an AOL function so that you can open the page from the server. Nothing but the hierarchy is user, responsibility, menu, and then function. This is how it will be. We have to register a function, assign the function to a menu, and then it goes on. So now in this case, what do you require? We require to know what is our page path. So this is my page path. So I'll just create a new page, new AOL function, xxram item details. Okay, xxram item details. And in the properties, mention it as SSWA JSP, self-service web application JSP function. And in the web HTML, mention like this. The path is oa.jsp page is equal to and the page path. Copy this location and mention here. Save it. And the next step is assign this particular function to a menu. So if at all, if menu is available, that's fine, or else you have to create a new menu. So in my case, I have an existing menu, so I'll try to use that particular one. So for this user, if you see, so I have one example, I guess, XXLT sample responsible, right? I hope I have that menu. I'll just assign, yeah, this good. So I'll just assign here. 41 item details sample XXRAM. Yeah, that's it. Save it. And now refresh here. XXLT sample responsibility. Yep, item details page. Just click on this one. Perfect. So now we could see our page from the server. Okay. So you can see the address here. Based on this itself, we can say that whether we are running a page from a JDeveloper or we are running a page from the server. And also you can find that information here. So click on about this page. And from here also you can find out. Right? Okay. Now click on return to. So now let us say you got a change to do something in the page. Now here I have, if you observed in our custom page, we are showing an item type, right? So I am showing item type code. So click on item details page once again. So here, as a developer, like generally, like when we design the page, so we generally come across the changes, modifications from the business users, or maybe it could be developer mistake that we would have done some mistake and we forgot to find out that and which is deployed, right? Now in this case, let us say this item type, business user says they don't want to display item type code, they want to display item type meaning. Okay. Now, how do you modify the page? And how do you modify as well as how do you redeploy? So now as per the requirement, we have to show item type meaning. So this requires a change in the query and this requires a change in the pg.xml file also. Okay, two changes. One is change in the Vivo and change in the XML. So first of all, let us design the query and then we'll discuss how do you modify it. So now what I will do is, so the existing query for the Vivo as of now, it is this one. Okay, now we would like to join the item type logic to this one. So nothing but item type meaning I need to display. So from here, this is the meaning which I want to show. So what I'll do is, okay, I'll just modify a little bit. Yeah. Now this is what I want to show. Now this I'll join it as inner query because there's no specific reason. Either way you can do it, okay? Either inner query or direct to join. Either will work. FLV dot meaning where this is this and FLV dot lookup underscore code is equal to MSIB dot what is that item type. And I'll say item type. So always follow the proper case stuff. Okay. Okay. Yep, perfect. So now see the last column here. I could see item type meaning now. Okay. Now this is what we want. So copy the latest query. Okay. Or maybe see when you're trying to change, when you consider change in your query. So either just copy that exact column or maybe copy the total query, either way. So I'll copy the total query now. Go to my Vivo SQL statement, modify this one and click on apply. So make sure that click on attribute mapping and check out the mappings here, whether it has generated the latest column or not. Item type meaning it generated, and also always see the one-to-one mapping, whether they got shuffled, or whether they are whether they are mapping to improper attribute. It could be a mistake in our SQL query, or by just missing a comma or something like that, column aliases. Always re-verify the attribute mappings when you modify the VBOK query. Click on apply and OK. Now go back to the page, pg.xml, click on item type. Now here I have to change my Vivo attribute here. I have to change to item type meaning. That's it. So now rerun the page and see the difference now. Okay, perfect. So we could see inventory, our item type properly here, right? So now what's the next? We just need to redeploy the page. So what modifications we have done? So we have to consider all those things now, right? So go back to the deployment stuff. So here, what all we discussed, like the same thing. Now where we have modified the files in the model layer, nothing but the Vivo. So nothing but all the files, not all the files, you can just move only the file which you modified, right? So go to WinSAP first. And here I'll just open my XXRAM Oracle apps FND server. And here also I'll open the same thing, FND server. Which files have moved? I just modified only vivo.impl class as well as vivo XML file. Copy these two latest files to server. See, if you see, there is no change in the class file, but this file still we can move it. And now you see that there is a change in the vivo XML file. I'll just replace that. Latest files are moved to server of the model layer. Now we also need to move the latest MDS file, right? This particular one, the pg.xml file, because we have modified that particular file also. So I'll just re-execute my command. So when I re-execute the command, what will happen is it will update the existing pg.xml file. Execute it, that's it. So one more problem is it will not say that whether it has replaced the existing file. It simply says import completed. I mean to say, it never says created, updated, something like that. It simply says import completed if your import is success. Okay. And now what's the next step? So we have moved our latest files, but that is not enough here, because when you have moved nothing but, let us say, if you're modifying existing files on the server, you require to bounce the server, then only it will work. So now what we have to do is we have to bounce our Apache. Nothing but we have to stop the Apache server and start the server again. So I'll go to this location, admin scripts home. Stop all. So this will just take around 2-3 minutes. And again try start all. Again check the status here. Sometimes it may not start all the servers. So in my case, it's not starting the servers. ADOAFM start all. So start the individual servers. Okay. Generally, like we'll be having only one single command to start all the servers and stop all the servers, but in our instance we just don't have that possibility. So have two servers down still, ADOA core and HTTP server. Not all the servers need to be stopped and start. Only Apache server is enough. Nothing but HTTP server. Okay, now all the servers are up. You can try that. See, we got stopped, right? That's the reason it got this issue. Now just refresh this page, because we are at the same location. Hopefully it should show, or else we'll log in again. Yep, right. The latest file is available in the server. I could see item type now, right? And also you can see the latest Vivo query. Click on about this page and expand all. You can find, just click on the Vivo query, Vivo, hyperlink, and you can see the latest one, item type meaning. Okay, so this is how we can redeploy a custom page and deploy a custom page. Okay, thanks.